What's going on, guys? My name is Steve. Thank you for stopping by my channel. I'm just an American guy on a journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. Today, we're going to be reacting to the first and the last Christmas messages from Queen Elizabeth II. From what I understand, Queen Elizabeth actually did a televised Christmas broadcast every single year from 1957 until 2021. You know, when I started this channel, I definitely had planned on learning about who Queen Elizabeth was as a person. And unfortunately, she passed away only about 3 or 4 days after I started this channel. So I never really got to explore who she was while she was alive. But, you know, she's such a huge figure to British history, and she was so loved by the majority of the people in the UK that I feel like she's someone I definitely need to continue to explore on a kind of a regular basis. So I definitely have plans to every once in a while, you know, check out something different about who Queen Elizabeth was. You know, I've definitely watched some videos about Queen Elizabeth and kind of learned some things about her, but I really haven't been able to grasp kind of what her full personality was in a way. You know, most of the videos I've seen have been more about how she's been, you know, as a queen. And I kind of want to see if I can dive in and learn, you know, some deeper things about who she was, you know, because I feel like I said, she was so loved by the people that, you know, I want to know the things that really made the people adore her so much. I mean, obviously, she, you know, she was the longest reigning monarch. I mean, what was it? I can't even remember how many years it was. 70 years? Was it 70 years? I believe it was 70. So obviously, people in the UK saw her come on the television every single year around Christmas time. I don't know if this was on Christmas Day or Christmas Eve or exactly what, you know, what time it was, but it was right around this time of year. And, you know, the Queen wished them a Merry Christmas and probably a Happy New Year and maybe shared other things. I'm not really sure. I've never seen these. But I really thought this would be a way for me to kind of gauge a little bit about her personality, you know, because this type of message, you know, you should really be able to see some of the actual personality and not just the queen having to be the queen, if you know what I'm saying. And I just thought this would be a really interesting thing to check out since we are, you know, at Christmas. And unfortunately, this will be the first Christmas that in 65 years that Queen Elizabeth, you know, won't be making this annual address. So anyways, guys, let's go ahead and check out the first one. And then after the first one, we'll then go over to the last one. So this is the first televised Christmas broadcast in 1957 from Queen Elizabeth II.
Happy Christmas. 25 years ago, my grandfather broadcast the first of these Christmas messages.
Oh.
Today is another landmark, because television has made it possible for many of you to see me in your homes on Christmas Day. My own family often gather round to watch television, as they are at this moment, and that is how I imagine you now. I very much hope that this new medium will make my Christmas message more personal and direct. It's inevitable that I should seem a rather remote figure to many of you, a successor to the kings and queens of history, someone whose face may be familiar in newspapers and films, but who never really touches your personal lives. But now, at least for a few minutes, I welcome you to the peace of my own home. That it's possible for some of you to see me today is just another example of the speed at which things are changing all around us. Because of these changes, I'm not surprised that many people feel lost and unable to decide what to hold on to and what to discard, how to take advantage of the new life without losing the best of the old. But it's not the new inventions which are the difficulty. The trouble is caused by unthinking people who carelessly throw away ageless ideals as if they were old and outworn machinery. They would have religion thrown aside, morality in personal and public life made meaningless, honesty counted as foolishness, and self-interest set up in place of self-restraint. At this critical moment in our history, we will certainly lose the trust and respect of the world if we just abandon those fundamental principles which guided the men and women who built the greatness of this country and Commonwealth. Today, we need a special kind of courage, not the kind needed in battle, but a kind which makes us stand up for everything that we know is right, everything that is true and honest. We need the kind of courage that can withstand the subtle corruption of the cynics, so that we can show the world that we are not afraid of the future. It has always been easy to hate and destroy. To build and to cherish is much more difficult. That's why we can take a pride in the new Commonwealth we are building. This year, Ghana and Malaya joined our brotherhood. Both these countries are entirely self-governing. Both achieved their new status amicably and peacefully. This advance is a wonderful tribute to the efforts of men of goodwill who have worked together as friends. And I welcome these two countries with all my heart. Last October, I opened the new Canadian Parliament. And as you know, this was the first time that any sovereign had done so in Ottawa. Once again, I was overwhelmed by the loyalty and enthusiasm of my Canadian people. Also during 1957, my husband and I paid visits to Portugal, France, Denmark, and the United States of America. In each case, the arrangements and formalities were managed with great skill, but no one could have managed the welcome we received from the people. In each country, I was welcomed as head of the Commonwealth and as your representative. These nations are our friends, largely because we've always tried to do our best to be honest and kindly, and because we have tried to stand up for what we believe to be right. In the old days, the monarch led his soldiers on the battlefield, and his leadership at all times was close and personal. Today, things are very different. I cannot lead you into battle. I do not give you laws or administer justice. But I can do something else. I can give you my heart and my devotion to these old islands and to all the peoples of our brotherhood of nations. I believe in our qualities and in our strength. I believe that together we can set an example to the world which will encourage upright people everywhere. I would like to read you a few lines from Pilgrim's Progress, because I'm sure we can say, with Mr. Valiant for truth, these words: "Though with great difficulty I am got hither, yet now I do not repent me of all the trouble I have been at to arrive where I am. My sword I give to him that shall succeed me in my pilgrimage, and my courage and skill to him that can get it. My marks and scars I carry with me, to be a witness for me, that I have fought his battles, who now will be my rewarder. I hope that 1958 may bring you God's blessing and all the things you long for. And so I wish you all, young and old, wherever you may be, all the fun and enjoyment and the peace of a very happy Christmas.
I think the first thing that I noticed with that is just how young she was. You know, I'm so used to seeing Queen Elizabeth, you know, as an older person, someone in their 80s or 90s. And it was really interesting to, you know, I've seen Queen Elizabeth in younger pictures, but I think this was the first time I've actually seen her, you know, speak, you know, when she was younger. And so that was really interesting. You know, something else I didn't know was that her dad, I guess it sounded like her dad also did an annual Christmas message, but it was actually on the radio, I guess. You know, it seemed like this message was about just kind of having a more personable relationship with the people. I feel like this was the start of something new. Obviously, it was the start of something new, but it's almost like before this, the king or the queen may have felt untouchable, out of reach, just some sort of figurehead that you don't really know anything about. But all of a sudden, coming into your home through your television gave the queen this new identity, so to speak. It was almost like she become more real to the people. At least that's how it seems, you know, from what, you know, from looking at this. I can imagine the difference, you know, of all of a sudden seeing the queen come into your home, because that's how it would feel, especially, you know, the television being a new medium, and then seeing the queen literally speaking to you directly into your living room. It would be a surreal experience to someone back in the day. You know, you go back to 1957, it'd be a very interesting experience. But I really liked her message here. It was pretty hopeful. It touched base on a few things that were going on with the nation at the time, and just wished everybody a Merry Christmas. And it, like I said, it allowed the people to feel they had more of a connection to the queen. And, you know, I can see from this message, it was almost like the start of this. Obviously, the relationship with her and the people hadn't just started, but it almost felt like this was an advancement in that relationship. That relationship improved because of this Christmas message. I don't know if that's the case. That's just kind of what I perceive from, you know, from seeing this. But anyways, guys, let's go ahead and check out the next one. Be right with you. All right, guys, let's go ahead and check out the Queen's 2021 Christmas speech.
He is someone who doesn't take easily to compliments,
but he has quite simply been my strength and stay all these years. And I and his whole family, and this and many other countries, owe him a debt greater than he would ever claim or we shall ever know.
Although it's a time of great happiness and good cheer for many, Christmas can be hard for those who have lost loved ones. This year especially, I understand why. But for me, in the months since the death of my beloved Philip, I have drawn great comfort from the warmth and affection of the many tributes to his life and work, from around the country, the Commonwealth, and the world. His sense of service, intellectual curiosity, and capacity to squeeze fun out of any situation were all irrepressible. That mischievous, inquiring twinkle was as bright at the end as when I first set eyes on him. But life, of course, consists of final partings as well as first meetings. And as much as I and my family miss him, I know he would want us to enjoy Christmas. We felt his presence as we, like millions around the world, readied ourselves for Christmas. While COVID again means we can't celebrate quite as we may have wished, we can still enjoy the many happy traditions. Be it the singing of carols, as long as the tune is well known, decorating the tree, giving and receiving presents, or watching a favorite film where we already know the ending. It's no surprise that families so often treasure their Christmas routines. We see our own children and their families embrace the roles, traditions, and values that mean so much to us, as these are passed from one generation to the next, sometimes being updated for changing times. I see it in my own family, and it is a source of great happiness. Prince Philip was always mindful of this sense of passing the baton. That's why he created the Duke of Edinburgh's Award, which offers young people throughout the Commonwealth and beyond the chance of exploration and adventure. It remains an astonishing success, grounded in his faith in the future. He was also an early champion of taking seriously our stewardship of the environment, and I am proud beyond words that his pioneering work has been taken on and magnified by our eldest son Charles and his eldest son William, admirably supported by Camilla and Catherine, most recently at the COP Climate Change Summit in Glasgow. Next summer, we look forward to the Commonwealth Games. The baton is currently travelling the length and breadth of the Commonwealth, heading towards Birmingham, a beacon of hope on its journey. It will be a chance to celebrate the achievements of athletes and the coming together of like-minded nations. And February, just 6 weeks from now, will see the start of my Platinum Jubilee year, which I hope will be an opportunity for people everywhere to enjoy a sense of togetherness, a chance to give thanks for the enormous changes of the last 70 years, social, scientific, and cultural, and also to look ahead with confidence. I'm sure someone somewhere today will remark that Christmas is a time for children. It's an engaging truth, but only half the story. Perhaps it's truer to say that Christmas can speak to the child within us all. Adults, when weighed down with worries, sometimes fail to see the joy in simple things, where children do not. And for me and my family, even with one familiar laugh missing this year, there will be joy in Christmas, as we have the chance to reminisce and see anew the wonder of the festive season through the eyes of our young children, of whom we were delighted to welcome 4 more this year. They teach us all a lesson, just as the Christmas story does, that in the birth of a child there is a new dawn with endless potential. It is this simplicity of the Christmas story that makes it so universally appealing. Simple happenings that form the starting point of the life of Jesus, a man whose teachings have been handed down from generation to generation and have been the bedrock of my faith. His birth marked a new beginning. As the carol says, the hopes and fears of all the years are met in thee tonight. I wish you all a very happy Christmas.
Okay, it looks like that part doesn't have sound. I think that was yeah, that was her address or her speech. I think what I see in this, I can imagine that this is, I've said this before, that what I felt Queen Elizabeth from an outsider looking in was, I felt like in a way she was like the grandmother of a nation. I felt like in a way that's how she was perceived, as a caring grandma to the people. And I may be wrong on that. That's just what I see in it. And so I can imagine that for 64 years, she was the queen, but she was like this, first a mother figure, because she wasn't quite old enough to be a grandmother when she was, back in 57 or in the 60s or whatever. But, first a mother figure, then a grandmother figure. And this mother figure and grandmother figure came into people's homes every Christmas, to wish them a Merry Christmas, give them hope, touch base on things that were happening in the, in the nation, in the Commonwealth as a whole. So I can imagine that people really appreciated this address. I know that if I had a figure in the U.S. equivalent to the Queen, which we don't, I would probably appreciate some sort of message like that every year. It'd be a uplifting message during this time of year. But I had totally forgot that she had lost her husband. Not really that long before she passed. I mean, what was that? Like a year and a half, I guess. I suppose he passed away in 2021. That was obviously before I started this journey, so I wasn't really learning about that stuff at that point. And so I still don't really know much about him. And she mentioned the Platinum Jubilee. That's definitely something I'm going to have to look into. I've heard other people talk about it. I don't really know what it is. Some sort of celebration. But guys, I thought this was pretty cool. Seeing her first televised Christmas message and then seeing the last, and you just see, you saw, I guess it was almost her entire life, like the span of, in just like this quick few minutes, you saw her go from young to old. And I really feel like, I mean, based off of what I've seen so far and based off of this, I can honestly say that from an outsider looking in, that I feel like she absolutely loved, the UK, the Commonwealth. She absolutely loved the people, and I really think she meant it. I mean, based off of what I see here, I know there are people, I think there are, the minority of people didn't really appreciate her. And I didn't live with her being my queen, so I don't know what to say about that. But based off of what I've seen so far in this, I really get the impression that she really wanted to serve, and I felt like she really tried her best to serve the people well, based off of what I seen so far. And so, that's all I can say. And I thought these messages were great. And, I'm glad I checked them out. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Please click that like button. Feel free to drop your comments or suggestions about this video or other things you think I might want to check out, especially if it has to do with the Queen, because I definitely want to check out more about her going forward in the future. Not all the time, but just every once in a while, I definitely want to learn more about her because she was such a huge part of British history. And like I said earlier, she was loved by the people for the most part, it seems. So definitely someone I want to look into more. But thank you, guys. Please click that subscribe button to continue to follow me on my journey to discover my British and Irish ancestry. Until next time, guys, peace.